Hey guys, I was wondering how you deal with negative input via your work at Giant Bomb. Vis-a-vis? I always say
Vis-a-vis.
Vis-a-vis.
Yeah.
You guys seem to kind of put yourselves out there at the site. Does negative feedback sometimes feel like a personal attack? Is it easy as just ignoring the haters, as hating is simply what they're going to do? I imagine that stuff gets creepy. You may hit closer to home at Giant Bomb rather than receiving an angry, quote, letter to the editor would have been back in the day, from Dylan. Dan?
I've never minded it, even when it gets really, even when it gets really vitriolic and really venomous and is just trying to get at me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you're a heel. You're a heel in real life, and
right. So I guess it's good.
I feel like you've almost sort of like managed a way to harness that stuff.
Yeah,
I use it.
Honestly, I understand. Like if you're getting a reaction, I liked all the positive stuff, and it's 99% positive. But some people really don't like me, and when I see that, I don't take that as a personal attack or anything. And I get it. I understand that opinions can be polarizing, and I say a bunch of things that not everyone's going to agree with.
Do you respond?
No, I mean, if someone says something really nice or whatever, I will definitely take the time.
This is the other side of it.
I don't ever engage. I don't give a shit. Like, I mean, it's just some random person that doesn't like me or whatever. Like, what do you have to gain by engaging someone in that? Like, I've just never understood people
I'm not here to answer these tough questions.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I've never taken anything personally. I've never been offended by anything anyone said about me or.
This is kind of I think for you put a lot of your family also kind of out there. Do you feel like if people go attack or say negative things about them, do you feel the need to jump in there and defend them? Or
no, I just make sure before I do something like, I just put out that podcast with my dad, my girlfriend, my mom, and my sister. And while my dad's been doing a lot of things with me for years, the others, this is their first time for the most part. And I just say like, hey, if you see anything, if you see any comments or whatever, just don't engage. It's fine. Like it's the internet. It's full of dicks, and we all have thick skin. So it's
thick skin.
Thick skin? Yeah.
I don't know. I got that cut off.
No, mine was removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just make sure they know. I just make sure if you're going to put yourself out there, like if someone's agreeing to be on a thing with me or whatever, that you just know it's the internet and like, that shit's going to happen.
That's so much easier said than done.
Yeah. It is. Like for my part, I think I'm sort of on the opposite end of that, where it's sort of the way my anxiety works and that kind of stuff. Like it's actually a somewhat of a struggle not to take that stuff personally. I've gotten a lot better about it in recent years. I've learned when to just kind of shut it out and when to ignore it. And, I've learned the meaningful difference between like negative but useful feedback and people just being complete dipshits.
Yeah. Constructive criticism, I love that. Like when there is legitimate stuff, where it's like, hey, you sound like a dick when you're saying this, or this is really annoying when you do this. Sometimes it's like you step back and, oh, shit, they're right.
And sometimes that constructive criticism can be delivered in a way that is hard to discern. It comes at you in a way that you have to be able to sort of look at it and go, okay, you're saying something, but you're also saying it in the most dickish way possible, and that's making this hard for me. But that is the kind of the struggle for me always, is that yes, we are a site that very much put ourselves out there, and I'm not someone that really likes putting myself out there on a regular basis. So that has been kind of a growth thing for me, like learning how to do that in a way that like sort of manages the negative bias I already have. And still, like, I can actually still be on the site and do things and not just be, like, turtled up in a shell under my desk.
Yeah. One of the most difficult things is not knowing what sort of – is this this person engaging with me honestly? Do they really think, like, oh, I have a difference of opinion with you and I would like you to spell out Austin. I would like you to spell out your shit differently. Like, tell me what you really think. Like, really work this out with me. Often I just don't have time to do that. But when I do, sometimes the most frustrating thing is that, like, 20 minutes into a conversation with someone who I've never spoken to before, who has up until that point been like really like it seemed like honest and like, oh, we're making progress, like says something that's completely wrong and like, oh, you're just trying to rile me up. Like someone once told me, like, oh, what do you know? You were raised in upstate New York with a bunch of rich parents. Like, none of that is true. Like, none of that is even true at all, actually. So, I don't know how to respond. Bye.
Yeah. It's easy to write a lot of that stuff off because it is like some of it is so presumptive or just makes so many assumptions about like
or
who we are as people,
dishonest.
Right. But also from my perspective, like I have seen all of this,
for many years,
a dozen times over at this point, so
maybe decades.
Sure, 2 decades running of people giving me grief on the internet for. So I've heard it from all sides, and so like I got something this morning actually that let me open up my laptop here and dig it out from this random dude here. I don't know what it's in relation to. It's like it's just something that showed up on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think this guy might have also messaged me
in reference to. Let me see if I can find it here. I guess it's from someone named Keith. I don't know. And he says, to me and Brad, at least you guys finally spelled out your rabid Sony PS4 infatuation.
No, that's a different guy.
Who needs objectivity and reason? I was like, what?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I don't
that's
know.
The thing. I can't even trace that back to something.
No, it's not.
It's
not a reply to something on Twitter, but like you can find posts on Usenet from the '90s where people are saying that I hate Sony. You can find things people saying I hate Sega. You can find it's like that stuff just flows in and out and rotates back and forth in a way. You just look at it and go, well, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, you are clearly not listening to us,
or not
on
really
a regular
interested.
basis, or not interested in actually engaging with what we put out. Because if you were, you would realize like that's maybe one of the dumbest things that's the stuff that actually gets me. I don't respond very often, but when it's something that is like
just way out,
preposterous to a level that is like actually accusatory.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to respond and say, "Actually, no. The thing you're saying is ridiculous," and maybe a little bit of here's why.
People definitely said I hated Codename Steam because I was an SJW this year, which is like
what?
The targeting is real bad, guys. Like that's not.
Yeah, you're just kind of throwing a whole lot of stuff out there.
There's something else there too, which is like there is, and this is a tough line. I don't like everything else. I believe I think is actually very complex, which is like there is a sort of assumption of accessibility or an assumption of like. Everything you put out should be for the audience that I see sometimes.
Sure.
So, for instance, I do get some shit sometimes from fans, from people who like my work at Giant Bomb, who are like, your Twitter feed is just a mess, Austin. Like, your Twitter feed is like a mix of weird, like, academia and politics and game stuff and weird Twitter
I get that
shit.
a lot, too. I get
like,
the academia and politics.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah, totally, Dan. Yeah, you're right there with me. And
I had to unfollow you.
Yeah.
Like Jason.
Well, here's the thing: is like I don't mind if someone doesn't follow me on Twitter because of that stuff.
Yeah,
like don't like that's cool. Like, but that shouldn't be the expectation sometimes. And but also so much of what we do is personality focused and is like, oh, you want to be close to. We are intimate. We have a weird intimate relationship with our fans that most public figures might not have. So I get that expectation, but also just it's cool. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
The one that's fascinated me the most is just how confident people have been, no matter what outlet you're at or whatever. It's like, the stuff that's like, oh, they're on the tag. Well, here's the deal. Ubisoft or, 2K or whatever pays this person. Like, that's why this got this. I can't imagine how much Jeff has got.
For me, it's like, it's the stuff that's like, well, this company is paying them to hate a competing product or service. That's the thing of just like, okay, like you have jumped through 9 logic hoops to get to that point where that is so not a reality that like, you can't even engage with that. Like if you're that far gone at some point, it's like, well, good luck with that.
And you get it from both sides where it's like, Jeff hates games now. Why does he hate games? Why is Silent so cynical? Or, they're such shills. They're so excited about this thing.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you can take anything that any of us say, and if you already have a notion in your head of what we're supposed to say and what we say isn't that, it's not hard to just say to come up with a laundry list of reasons why we
people
are not.
Never want to write off a thing, or people never want to think that they're wrong about a thing, and people never want to actually do the work. I think so. It's much easier.
Or they just don't even want to like.
It's much easier to just like reach out and go, those guys are clearly.
And even
terrible.
if it's not just being wrong, like it's just they don't know how to fathom people like that vehemently disagreeing with something that they believe or they love.
Or sometimes there's a broader narrative that they want to defend, and this makes it go the other way sometimes, where it's like I've seen people defend a position they think I have with a vehemency and like a vitriol that like that's not. I believe that thing, I guess, but like I'm not. Don't go at other people over this. I retweeted an Undertale review by someone else earlier this year that I really thought was good. I thought it was a good review that got at something that my review didn't get at, and I saw people who followed me go at that dude in a way that was like, nah, like that's not what I was trying to do.
That's the thing. Like the idea that you need to go out and like defend our opinions on an intense level is wholly unnecessary.
Well, keep in mind that like fans of video games are still caught in this same mentality that like there's still people out there living the fight against Ford and Chevy,
right?
Like someone out there is still like
they've got a Calvin sticker on their truck, being on a Nintendo or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because I don't want to have to tow your Chevy in my 150. I'm just tired of it.
Found on road dead, huh? Yeah, no. Fix it again, Tony. No, it's like, like that mentality still exists. It's like you have people that are treating these large corporations like they're football teams, and will go to war for them at the drop of a dime. And you're just like, why would you ever do that? So if anything that they perceive as being, I mean, maybe that's where this guy on Twitter is coming from, is he bought an Xbox. And in a lot of cases, you have people that are defending positions that are like, objectively, they've made mistakes with the way they've spent their money. I'm not saying this guy's in this position, but in past generations, you've had people that were like super sour grapes because they messed up and bought a TurboGrafx. And it's like
bonk.
Which at the time, I think now it's a lot easier to look at the TurboGrafx and go like, oh, there's some genuinely cool stuff there.
Bonk.
But in terms of like, if you wanted high quality games in quantities that let you play a lot of new games, that was not the platform to get.
Sure.
And
that doesn't mean that you were on the take to bury TurboGrafx.
Yeah, no, that is actually a little bit. Well, no, I mean, I started going to CES. I the first year at CES, I won a Bomberman tournament on a TurboGrafx. Nice. I guess I actually was kind of okay, whatever. But like that has always existed. You've always had the kid who bought the. And it goes with everything. In my group of friends when I was in high school, we had one friend who was a WCW guy in the early 90s, in 91, 92, when that stuff was laughable. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, man, Hogan's terrible. Sting is the best. I'm like, no, you're wrong. Like, you're just wrong. But he's going to defend that position because that's the fight he's chosen. Yeah. And you have people that will choose that position on Apple versus Android versus Windows Phone.
I cannot believe we're going to go record Game of the Year after this. After this part of this conversation, it's pretty good.
You will, this is inherent to human behavior.
Yes.
In terms of them defending the things they bought.
Wars have been fought.
Yeah, or identifying themselves as these products that they have purchased, and that there's nothing we can do about that at this point other than continue to say, like, that's ridiculous. And also, like, if you follow the money back on this stuff, like, we are the people that are very much in the position to where we have all of this stuff. We have access to everything. It's not... Yeah. There's zero incentive for us from a business perspective to choose sides. Like, I have my preferences, but at the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah.
I played a lot more Xbox 360 games than I played PS3 games. And now I'm probably playing more games on PC than I'm playing on. Every generation, though, you get people that feel like they're being slighted and think that that you've always been this way.
It's like a conspiracy against them.
I've got the receipts. You can go back and find forum posts for every single platform that has ever existed over the last 20 years, and you will find someone that says that I hate it or am a fanboy of it.
I have people saying that, like, I reviewed Mario Sports Mix or something for DS, which was a shitty game.
It's a hot jam.
Yeah, and I gave it a shitty score, and all these people coming out and calling me on Twitter saying, like, oh, he just hates Nintendo. What? Have you listened to anything I've ever said about video games and how much I defend Nintendo? But like at Game Informer specifically, we couldn't win because anytime we gave a game a high score, it's, well, of course they're owned by GameStop. Of course they wanted to drive pre-orders. That's why they gave it a high score.
Right.
And if it was a low score, it was like, oh, well, I guess they didn't buy enough space in the magazine that month for ads or whatever. It's like no matter what score anybody ever
someone
gave,
always has something to say no matter what. At the end of the day, like they will, and oftentimes the same people will craft opposite arguments, whatever fits their needs.
But with such confidence, it's just this like common knowledge. Like, well, of course GameStop buys reviews for pre-order. It's like, nah, I was there 5 years. I never saw that once. Like I just, but with the confidence that people are on the take. And they say it about here. They say it about certain YouTubers. They say it about magazines.
They say that about mainstream media. They say that about the news. Yeah. It's like, and at some point you dig deep down into some of that stuff. You actually start to find.
I'm sure there are examples.
You find enough connections where you go like, okay, well, there's actually if you follow the money, there's a good incentive for you to hold this position.
Right.
Like you can tell me you don't hold it, but it just comes down to whether I believe you or not. And I think that's the only thing we can ever say is like, well, we're not actually financially incentivized to do the thing you're saying to do, and if you can go ahead and try to connect the dots all you want, And if you can, good luck. But
yeah.
I either believe us or don't. Like I can't sit there and chase down every single person and explain to them why we're doing the things the way we do. But
and they're going to say, of course you'd say that. Of course you'd defend this because if you were on the take, you would come up with these. There's no winning in that argument.
For me, it's if someone comes along and tries to throw slag something in my direction, like I'm new. Like I'm some guy just straight off the street going well, I got to make a name for myself, and tries to go there with it. That's the point where it's no, actually, I'm not that guy. I've got here's I can point to all this stuff and go go ahead, dig through this if you want. If you really want to, go for it.
I think you were just trying to make
good luck.
You were trying to make a name for yourself with that Drive Club review. I think
that's right.
Trying to get your name out
exactly.
there. Yeah.
Trying to get people to understand me. I'm pissed off, Jeff. YouTube sensation. I'm angry about everything. That's.
I'm the sarcastic gamer.
It ain't.
That's
us.
a real.
That's my sarcasm.
That's real.
I'm sure it is. Well, I'm the sarcastic gamer junior.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're going to move on to just a couple more quick emails here because I feel like we
dug in.
I put this one in here, and that one went places. But to talk about for a while. But if you can imagine in your mind what's happening right now.